Welcome to a Cowboy Channel special, the Top 15. It is official, and this is the official Final 15 as we are headed to this year's National Finals Rodeo. We're going to break it all down, and we've got some help, including some of the most legendary analysts are going to be right here helping us tell these stories today.
And this season, the dream has come true for 29 NFR first-timers. Some are true rookies, some just rookies to the NFR. We're going to celebrate with all of them tonight.
And why are we doing this tonight? Because the official audit has been complete. The official Top 15 and their stories coming your way.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Oh my goodness. That's the fastest run we've seen.
He started off good. 0.7. I hear his hands on fuego.
Good catch. Here we go. Oh, they did it. That is an outstanding bareback ride.
Number 190 and a half. Number 1 ranked man in the world. Oh, guess what?
That's $24,000.
Yeah. It's fight and he's winning. Let's get ready to go.
The Cowboy Channel is bringing you the official unveiling of the Final 15. It's an NFR standings reveal tonight on the Cowboy Channel, presented by OptiWize 10-in-1. I'm Katie Lucas here in our Cowboy Channel studios with Justin McKee. The audit is complete. Those pencils are sharpened. Dollars and cents have been tabulated. We've got the official Final 15.
That's right. We didn't want to jump the gun, but now we're going to jump right in the middle of all these storylines. And for the next 2 hours, you're going to find out a lot of information I think you're going to find very useful as we hopefully are starting the conversation for you folks as we are getting in gear for the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. And we hope our information will help aid you as you are thinking about your Pro Fantasy Rodeo team as well.
And we're going to start things strong, too. I think one of the most exciting races that we're going to see at the National Finals Rodeo is that of the all-around. So let's start off the show with that race.
Go ahead, Wasey. Go ahead. Get ready, Stetson Ride, Incredible. He's number 8 in the world. Just like that.
He continues to dominate. Come on, Stetson.
Won San Angelo in his hometown. Dylan! He got better the farther it went.
Well, you saw just a taste of it there, Justin McKee. The all-around race is one that is going to be so exciting. I'm going to call it now. It might go down to round 10 of the National Finals Rodeo. We've got 2 contestants that are there in 2 events. There's some other guys in the mix as well, but realistically, I'm calling it, this is Superman versus Spider-Man. We've got Stetson Wright, Wasey Shala. They're going head-to-head at the NFR.
Well, they are both superhuman, and
Yes.
they've got a lot of sticky. Let's take a look at some of the numbers right here. As you can see, we've got Stetson Wright going in the bull riding at number 2, and he's also in the top 15 in the saddle bronc riding. And Stetson, as you can see by the numbers, almost 64% of the time average buck and bull score there, almost 87. And compared to the other side, slight advantage right there, as the Wasey in terms of bull riding is number 1 in the world standing. But Stetson Wright, he's number 1 in the all-around. And if you look at the money, $391,000, pretty good. That's in official all-around points. He's actually won more than that when you add his total money in bronc riding and bulls.
Yeah, in fact, over $500,000 is what Stetson Wright has won. Remember a few years ago where he almost closed in on $1 million in earnings, and I think he is so high up in the standings, has won so much money because he's got a great guy to push him all the way to the top. Wasey Shala has been so exciting to watch go toe-to-toe with Stetson Wright all season long. Not only were they trading positions in the all-around, But the bull riding race was so exciting, Justin, to watch as they were 1 and 2 back and forth all season long. And he's going to make it even tougher for Stetson because he is in the bareback at the National Finals Rodeo for the first time in his career as well.
All right, here's more of the numbers as we continue to roll through the process right here. We might also say that maybe the biggest part of the story isn't the numbers or the money. It's the fact that Stetson Wright was injured in Puyallup, missed the last 30 days. Some question marks. Hopefully we'll answer some of those question marks here. And Wacey Shala, quite frankly, wasn't 100% during the Governor's Cup.
Yeah, definitely not 100% for either of those contestants right now. But, speaking of percentage, speaking of numbers, we brought in some guys that like to crunch those numbers. Michael Snow, Steve Kenyon, they're hopping on the show all throughout these next 2 hours to break down those numbers, guys. The all-around, it is a feast for us stats nerds.
Think about the number of times that the all-around race going into the National Finals Rodeo, we knew who the all-around champion was going to be before the NFR ever started. Well, this year we have no idea. Stetson is $33,000, Mike, ahead roughly of Wacey coming in. Wacey's got a couple of $1,000 advantage in the bull riding. Stetson's ahead of him if you take the bronc riding compared to the bareback riding. There are some questions that will need to be answered. You need to think about the health of both guys. You need to think about maybe the physicality of the two events, the bareback riding during the bronc riding. Your thoughts?
Well, there's a lot going on. I mean, all season long it's been, can Wacey keep up with Stetson? Well, all season long, Wacey has kept up with Stetson. And this is the first year since 2019 that Stetson Wright will be pushed in the all-around at the NFR. Last year we were spoiled with a great all-around race throughout the entire rodeo, but this time it's all about Stetson. But when you look at their, we'll call it secondary event, that's going to be a huge factor here. They're going to go head-to-head in the bull riding, but Stetson is technically more likely to be bucked off in his secondary event. This year he rode 85% of his broncs. If he gets bucked off in the saddle bronc riding, then the average will come into play if Wacey's able to go 10 for 10 in that bareback riding.
So let's take a look at the top four in the all-around. Stetson Wright, $391,670. As I said, roughly $33,000 ahead of Wacey Shala. Dylan Hancock and Brushton Minton are both qualified for the National Finals Rodeo in the tie-down roping. But you see, they're $200,000 behind. So Stetson and Wacey would have to have a real train wreck, and Dylan and Brushton would have to win pretty much everything they can win. Really, technically, I think we're looking at the two rough stock guys going toe-to-toe for a chance to become the all-around champion. So that's the way that the numbers look for those top four right now.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch them the rest of the way. And I will say, Stetson Wright, he's number 12 in the saddle bronc riding world standings, number 3 in the average there. Wacey Shala, he's outside the top 10 as well, number 7 in the average score there. So, Katie, there's a lot going on right now. It's going to be a very fun race to watch. Like you said, might go down to round 10.
Man, it is going to be exciting no matter how we cut it for those two contestants that are in 2 events. But let's get to our specialists. For the first time, we're going to break down a single event in our show, starting off with the bareback riding.
It is Rocker Steiner.
Oh, this horse's bucket. Steiner's opened up.
That's why that guy's one of the very best in the world. What a ride for Bradley Miller here tonight.
Say hello to him, friends. Here's Samuel Peterson. Look at this. Everybody make a little noise for the Pope tonight.
All right, welcome back as we are getting ready to reveal the first individual event, and it wasn't without some question marks, especially toward the bottom of the top 15, who was going to get that number 15 spot. One of the reasons that we have remained relatively quiet on our reveal, but it is official now. You'll have to wait a moment for that number 15 position, but right now let's talk about the first 5 guys and Rocker Steiner with that $82,000 lead. I'm going to say he dominated the season with that kind of a number over Sam Peterson.
He certainly did, and he had a chip on his shoulder all season long. He talked about it in several interviews. He lost the world title race last year by $14,000. He was going to make sure that did not happen again. So I think that's why you see that $82,000 lead. He had a lot of motivation, had a lot of competition, though. When we look at the next 5 on our list, we've got great contestants like Cade Saunier, Garrett Shadbolt, who's been really a regular I look at Jacek Frost, though. How about the September he had? He was well outside the top 15 in the world when we headed into September. $47,000 later, Justin, he moved his way up. Looking at the end of August, he was number 23 in the world. Wins $16,000 in Puyallup. Now he's number 16. Wins $18,000 in Pendleton the next week. Now he's number 10. And then he just keeps picking away, picking up checks left and right to solidify his spot at number 9 in the world, headed to his first national finals rodeo.
Yeah, he won about a third of his money the last 30 days of the season, which is extraordinary. But watch out for Dino there, the reigning world champion, Dean Thompson, comes from number 8. Let's go to the bottom 5, and we're going to see some first-timers in there. And I'm going to jump right into the conversation I started earlier with the number 15 man. R.C. Landingham missed it by a whisker. Tilden Hooper is in as the elder statesman. And don't forget now, we have got Jaco Roper at that number 11 spot. And looking forward to Wasey Shala, as we've already started the conversation about him in the all-around. Right now, let's talk some numbers. And that number 15 man is Tilden Hooper, and he's glad to be going back to the National Finals Rodeo.
He really is. He's $109 ahead of R.C. Landingham coming into this NFR. That was the separation. Number 14, Mason Clements, to number 17, Orrin Larson. Mike, they were only separated by $1,800.
Yeah, and Tim O'Connell, who we're going to talk to here in just a second, gave us kind of a fun fact earlier. Tilden's first ever NFR, he was number 16. He thought he missed it. He gets in. He gets a call a couple weeks later. Tim, I'm sorry, I'm stealing your stat or your fun fact there. He gets a call on the audit, and he is in at the number 15 spot. Again this year, he's in. Steve, he started the season hot. 3 of his first 4 rides over 90 points.
Yeah, and then he finished the season hot, and that was the big deal. Tilden Hooper, 37 years old, headed to his 10th NFR. Remember, he wins $18,000 in Mandan, makes a 90-point ride there. He won over $34,000 in September. And, you know, all the paychecks were not great big ones. He won $870 in Puyallup. He won $750 in Lewiston. He won $1,100 in Ellensburg. But would he have made the NFR without any of those checks? Take a look at the top 15. The difference between Mason and Tilden is just, you know, a few $100s. And as I said, Tilden Hooper got in by $109 over number 16, R.C. Landingham.
He had all those 90-point rides. A 76 1/4 might be his best ride of the season at the Governor's Cup. That earned him $4,000. That clinched his spot in the top 15. So again, it was never fully comfortable, but you can see right here, R.C. Landingham, $109 short. You can go past that too. Orrin Larson, like you mentioned, Steve, $1,600 short. This was a bubble with a lot of big names and a lot of guys who have been to the NFR before.
Well, and let's think about Mason Clements. He wins $130,000. For Mason Clements, it literally came down to the last day and the last ride of the rodeo season, the duel at the Dunes in Colorado. Mason picked up a check there. He finished 4th, $1,800. That was enough to put him into that number 14 spot.
Yeah, he's been really good. Now, looking at the top of everything, this is the guy leading the way. Rocker Steiner, $303,000, joins Riley Webb as the only other non-bull rider to be over $300,000. There's Keenan Hayes as well, $275,000 a couple of years ago. But you look at the overall earnings, $434,000 and $130,000 behind is Rocker. Steve Rocker has been impressive from the jump. Didn't go to every single rodeo he could, but everywhere he did go, he got a big paycheck there.
Well, he did, and a record-setting season. So now, let's get a little bit deeper into the bareback riding. Katie and Justin have got a special guest and a guy who knows more about it than all of us combined, probably, and that'd be Tim O'Connell.
Alluded to, we're bringing in the 3-time world champion Tim O'Connell, a guy that has lived it himself, battled through those world title races. And Tim, that's exactly what you want to talk about today on the show, is that battle at the top.
The battle at the top is going to be really exciting this year. Obviously, Rocker, what he did in the regular season, unheard of, unprecedented, over 300,000. There was a year that I won the world with like 316,000. So kudos to him for what he did, what he put together in the regular season. But there's a lot of danger for him moving into the national final. And what I mean by that, Rocker has not covered all 10 horses at the national finals yet. This average pays close to $100,000. You have Bradley Miller that caught lightning in a bottle at the finals last year and ran with it until he had a hamstring injury coming into the summer. It's a very dangerous guy to have that lightning bottled up, ready to unleash it again at the national finals. To me, I think most of us can say the most dangerous guy for Rocker has to be Jess Pope. 5 NFRs, has gone to his first 3, won the average at all 3. Goes to his 4th one, has a bobble to win his 4th one, ends up 2nd. Last year, he comes in at the bottom of the pack. Everyone wanted to say he was hurt last year. No, he just didn't ride that good last year. What does not riding good look like for Jess Pope? A top 5 finish in the world title.
Hey, let's break down some stuff here with Rocker Steiner in the wall. There was a big change in Rocker this year. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, Rocker is now putting together the marriage between riding buckers and riding hoppers. He's always flashy, he's always electric, he has a lot of style in his feet. Mainly it's his speed. He uses speed against horses rather than power against horses. Now you're starting to see, as he's maturing in age, maturing and getting on these horses, like we talked about earlier, he doesn't go get on every horse. So he doesn't go get on eliminators very often. But now that he's in his 4th year, he is starting to get on these horses. He's starting to slow his feet down and use their power and his momentum to take the advantage away from him.
For anyone watching at home too, we're utilizing some new AI technology here, Tim. I want you to talk about what we're seeing here. We're talking about intensity of the kicks in our horses, intensity of our riders' motion too, and of the spurring action here. Let's take a look at this video again and look at this AI technology. We're excited to bring it to NFR this year. We're giving you a little preview right now.
Yeah, and you'll see there's a little bit of bucker hopper in this horse. You're having to change momentum. Watch as this horse comes out of here. These are really nice, just jumping and kicking. But right here, there's a big overkick. In the past, Rocker's upper body would have came forward. He wouldn't have had his feet set at the bottom and actually what we call standing on your feet to stop the momentum of your body moving forward. He is starting to feel these kicks. He's starting to judge them based off of what comes through his feet and his spurs. And as you mature and get on more and more bareback horses, you feel and adapt to this. He's now feeling the difference between a low intensity kick and a high intensity kick and what he has to do with his feet.
All right, now I want to jump in here because a lot of people are looking at a lot of numbers going on here. There's a lot of lines and a lot of neon stuff here. I just want to say, this is an introduction. This is the beginning of what the future looks like in terms of how we are attempting to change the game. So just stick around. Don't let it confuse you. Just know it's the beginning of something great. We're going to be able to tell you a lot more about the intensity and the angles, and maybe the judging system will benefit from it too in the long run. But let's take a look at the top 5 overall. Congratulations to Sam Peterson. Finally gets to his first NFR after a couple of years of being close, and all the way up to number 2 in the world.
Yeah, and what an impressive, first time to the NFR. We expected this out of Sam Peterson. This kid's rode very well for a very long time. Same age as Rocker, came up through that peewee, kind of the little buckers that come up through it. Like he's on that first generation. Keenan Hayes was part of that generation. Rocker was somewhat a part of that. Sam was really a part of it too. For him to learn the game of rodeo now, you're seeing it now, this new group of kids come through.
There's a dark horse in the field too that you always call on. You were the first to call it last year of looping Dean into that world title race. He's a dark horse again this year as the reigning world champ.
Yeah, you want to call him the dark horse. I seen an interview with him the other day. He wants to be called the white horse. Dean Thompson is a very scary player in the middle of that pack because last year it wasn't that he was just the very best. He turned out to be a world champion, but he showed up in round number 1 as the most aggressive bareback rider.
All right, well, we appreciate your insight. Always appreciate that. Looking forward to you being at the National Finals Rodeo on this team as well. Want to remind you that Hell on Wheels continues. It's presented by Boot Barn. It's every Wednesday on the Cowboy Channel, 7:30 Eastern Time. Every Wednesday, taking you on that rock and roll rodeo trail. Cam, thank you for joining us.
All right, it is always one of the tightest races in the PRCA. The steer wrestlers, I'm sure, gave our audit team a run for their money. We're going to reveal the official earners next on the Final 15.
Fastest run of the week in Stampede.
3.6 seconds. 3.6 for Jesse Brown.
He goes to number 1.
Oh, the champ is here! The top spot!
We got a brand new leader.
He's been having a magical year.
We got some bulldogging going on now, guys. That steer did not have a chance with JD's strength.
Well, it's time to get a little tipsy as we see some of the best cow tippers in the world. And that was some great video right there. As of course, we're going to talk steer wrestling. A lot to talk about for these big guys. What a race it has been. Storylines are abounding, the closeness of the race, and all of that, and then some. Let's take a look at your bottom 5 right now. Getting in there, and what jumps off at me is Scott Gunther, who has tried not to qualify for the National Finals Rodeo the last 3 years, continues on a very limited schedule to get the job done.
Yeah, how do you like to be that talented that you keep trying to retire and they just keep dragging you back to the National Finals Rodeo? But I know it is an event that Scott is so honored to qualify for each and every year, and he should be because the competition is so tough. As always, our steer wrestlers make it very difficult on our PRCA audit team because they are so close from top to bottom. But this year, for the first time ever, it took 100,000 or more to qualify for the NFR in the steer wrestling. As we look at 6 through 10 right here, we've got some big players in the mix. I'm looking at this guy right in the middle, Tyler Wegasback. He's always one to watch out for. I don't care if he comes in 15th. I look out for him in a world title race.
Yeah, 5-time world champion, jumps off the page right there, and he's a lot better than he was a year ago at the bottom part of the top 15. This is a good place to be to maybe tie that all-time record for the most steer wrestling world championship. J.D. Struckness has the highest catch percentage of all the steer wrestlers. He's also the reigning world champion, catching 91% of his steers.
Let's look at the top 5 right now, and I think the most interesting fact amongst these top 5, no world titles yet. They've been close before. We've got some great contenders in the mix.
Yeah, we really do. We got some great horsepower there as well, and we have got some great numbers and 2 guys that know how to break it down.
Well, Justin, thank you. And, let's talk about that because that's a great point. That top 5, Michael Snow, nobody in that group has won a world title yet. And I think yet maybe is the operative word. You go to the number 1 man, Will Loomis. He's been 3rd in the world standings 3 different times. He's been 2nd in the world standings 3 different times, including last year.
Yeah, last year may have been the most heartbreaking of all of those. He loses the average in round 10. He goes 4.5, where Cash Rob was 4.0 seconds in round 10. He loses the average by a 10th of a second, loses the world. But look at those sub-4 second runs. He has 25 of them this season. Steve, you mentioned he got a little bit maybe less aggressive than he should have. Last year, he starts off with a few sub-4s.
Yeah, he does. He wins 2 of the first 3 go-rounds a year ago, times of 3.4 and 3.7. After that, every run he makes at the NFR, I sound like you on Zero In right now, Michael. Right after that, every run he makes at the NFR is a 4.2 or slower. There was 1.5. He caught all of his steers. He ended up losing the world title by $1,500 to J.D. Struckness. That was a year ago, but headed to his 8th NFR, $1.8 million. There is only one thing missing from Will Loomis's resume, and that's a gold buckle.
And that's the gold buckle, and here we go again, I think is what he's saying. Look at this differential, Steve, from top to bottom. You're within the average.
Yeah, we can all save our voices if we just recorded this every year. The steer wrestling is really close. Will Loomis, $32,000 ahead of Jesse Brown, but Gavin Swallow, who had to hitch a ride to San Bernardino on the final Sunday night of the regular season, comes in the number 15 spot, $89,218 behind. That is less than 3 go-round wins. That is less than the average at the National Finals Rodeo. So literally, I mean, look at this guy, Ty Erickson, number 14. He's a world champion. His Horse Crush was the Horse of the Year last year. So there are all kinds of possibilities in the steer wrestling.
Yeah, quickly, I want to talk about this guy, number 8. He talked about his legacy. He wanted to make the NFR last year. He snuck in. Right now, he wants to continue that legacy and get that final gold buckle, Steve.
So that is the way that it looks from our perspective. I want to hear the perspective of a Hall of Famer. Justin McKee, you've got a chance to share that. You're standing by with Luke Branquino.
Hey, thank you, guys. And joining me right now, 5-time world champion and Hall of Famer, Luke Branquino, as we continue to talk about some steer wrestling. First of all, welcome to the studio. And second of all, let's just jump right into that end of the season. What an exciting way to conclude the end of the regular season of steer wrestling.
Yeah, and it was unbelievable. The whole month of September, there were so many things that kind of went there, that way, this way, that kind of dictated the world standings. But Sioux Falls, that was where it all actually came down to it. And there were so many scenarios, Justin, where there could have been a guy that was 11th in the world standings, got bumped out if the right guys behind him won. So, yeah, it was an amazing finish to the season.
What was the biggest surprise?
You know, there was a couple surprises, but Gavin Swallow not having any luck at Sioux Falls, going to San Bernardino and having to win, and he did exactly that and got ahead of Mike McGinn to that 15th spot. You know, that was one of them there. Chance Howard, I expected to see more out of him in the fall, but he ended up hanging on and getting that first trip to the national finals. So those two things kind of surprised me the most. Gavin not winning and then doing it at San Bernardino, and Chance Howard not winning but still being able to get in.
All right, so I'm glad you brought both of those names up because that's what we're going to focus on right now. 2 first-timers, and the guys you just mentioned right there, 13th in the world for Chance Howard, number 15 for Gavin Swallow. In my opinion, these guys, if I was going to describe them, what they have in common, they are blue-collar bulldoggers, and they just got down and dirty and gritty and got the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chance Howard's been one of those guys for the last few years that has bulldogged very well and not quite got to the finals. He was 1 or 2 spots out a couple years ago. Horsepower struggles. This year he finally got it put together. Now the last part of the season I was surprised he didn't win as much as he did, but now Gavin Swallow, that kid, has had a lot of success in a young age, so not surprised to see him there at that young of an age.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's talk about the man. Last year in 2024, it was this guy from Minnesota, J.D. Struckness, got his first world championship, and he did it in style out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and JD's one of those guys where he doesn't let anything bother him. If something bad happens, he just rolls on. He's very confident. He's confident in his horsepower, his hazer, and when that's the recipe JD's working with, look out because he is deadly out there.
Yeah, what kind of a change is it going to make on him now that he's got that gold buckle going back to Thomas and Mack?
You know, that pressure of having your first gold buckle and then coming back, you know, there is pressure on you. I do not care what anybody says, but yes, there's pressure on you. Okay, I need to go back, try to get my second one. Instead, he should just go at one steer at a time like it's his first national finals.
All right, he's not the only world champion that's going to make it. We've got 2 others that we have to recognize before we get done talking steer wrestling.
Yeah, and those 2 guys, you know, Ty Erickson squeaked in there at the bottom. You know, he did some winning a little bit late in the fall, and he was stressed out.
Well, that was one of my biggest surprises, that he made that big of a jump that late in the season.
Yeah, and you know, he was struggling there for a little while, but his great horse Crush let him get to where he needs to be. Now, we all both know it doesn't matter where you go in at the finals. If you have a great finals, it could be lights out.
And nobody has had more great finals in the last decade than Wagaspack, and he's the other world champion. As we take a look at the top 5 in the world, we got Jesse Brown in a very familiar spot at number 2. It seems like he comes in number 2 a lot here over the last few years. And then Will Loomis, he's got that number 1 right now, but can he hold on to it this time?
Well, and that's a great question. You know, Will's confidence level on this horse he's riding now is a lot higher than in the past. He knows he doesn't have to worry about anything other than going and doing his job. The horse lets him get the start. Will cannot back off, and that's something that he even said this year. He's like, man, I'm running at the barrier every time. I have to go do that and go do my job to have a chance at that gold buckle, and that's what's cost him in the past. He's backed off, safetied up a little bit, and it cost him. But this year I think we see a little bit of a different Will Loomis of going at him every time. You can see every one of those videos, he is at the barrier, blowing it out, and doing what Will Loomis has done so well.
Yeah, look at the numbers in the lower right. 25 times he was sub 4. Man, that is a number way out ahead of everybody else.
Well, yeah, and not only that, you see checks won. He has won a lot of checks, and not just little checks. Those are big checks. Obviously, he's number 1 in the world standings for that reason. So that's telling you, Will Loomis, he is not backing off. He's running at it every time and just doing it Big Willie style.
All right, thanks for joining us. And Luke's not the only celebrity right here in our studio talking steer wrestling. We've got one of those top 5 guys we're going to talk to right now.
Here comes Justin Schaefer.
Here's a 3-3. Look out.
Yeah. Look out. 3 flat. Holy cow, what a run. Here it comes.
Yep.
Boom.
Run.
Now this steer should throw real fast right here. Good run. Did he do it? Yes, he did.
It's the long, tall Texan, Justin Schaefer.
Oh, man, those throws will get you out on the edge of your seat. Talk about pumping some energy after watching Justin Schaefer up at the Governor's Cup. He was pretty near perfection.
Yeah, you want to talk about lights out? That's exactly what Justin Schaefer was right there at Sioux Falls, the Governor's Cup. You know, and Justin, I was on my way up here and I left the house. You know, Heiko's a ways. I thought, I've rodeoed a lot in my career. I needed a driver. Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to swing in and see if I could pick somebody up to drive me up here. And
stars like you,
get somebody.
Stars like you need a chauffeur, and you've got a guy that knows the road and how to get down the road. He covered a lot of miles. Justin Schaefer, congratulations on your second qualification to the National Final Rodeo and a monster big year.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
I want to go back before the Governor's Cup because I want to talk about the Pendleton Roundup. That run that you had in slack. If you're going to tip one over and do it absolutely quick like that on the grass, there's nothing that compares to it.
Yeah, that was awesome. We were actually 4-1 on our first one and broke the barrier. And I've made the short round at Pendleton, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a lot and never got out of there with much money. And I told myself this year, we've had this conversation a bunch, but I was going to press the barrier there and try to get a go around, and that's what we did. So.
Well, when we talk about that time of the year, Justin, you've been there, you've competed there, you announced the rodeo. That time of year, if things are rolling and you need them to roll at that moment, when you make a run like that at Pendleton, it just carries that momentum onto those rodeos that, let's say, are not as tough of a situation as a Pendleton Roundup.
Yeah, I mean, the money that can be won in any go-round anywhere, really. I mean, at that time of year, is a big enough check that the average will take care of itself if you're pressing hard enough and winning enough in the go-rounds. And I think that comes to pass in everything we do leading up to the NFR. The NFR is the same way. It's just 10 one-headers. So Pendleton was pivotal for me. I think the money was already there, but as far as taking the pressure off of me and then just letting me go have fun at the rest of them, I wasn't showing up at Sioux Falls needing to win a little penny or two. I could just go have fun and run every steer for what they were.
Yeah, you'd done that before. A whole different scenario this year compared to coming in 14th in the world last year. You're in the top 3. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but we got to get to that Governor's Cup conversation because that's when he rocked them all.
Well, and you even said it. Going into the Governor's Cup last year, it was like, I need to win 3,000. This year, you could let it all hang out and go run at the barrier, make sure you get as much money as you could get won, and you did exactly that. I mean, you could see the times, 3.9, 3 flat, 3.6, 3.7. You did not go over 4 flat right here, and just being there watching the success you had was so impressive.
Yeah, thanks. It was, I mean, we'll talk about the horse, I'm sure, but it's a lot to do with the horse and the draw, but I was able to show up and use those steers and not back off anywhere. All those steers I felt like I used well, and I did that because there was no pressure to win, and I used them for what they were.
And a big part of the conversation up there at the Governor's Cup concerning steer wrestling was one of the best pens of steers that anybody had ever seen. Everybody had a good one, and you had a great one.
Yeah, they did a good job sorting them steers, but at the end of the day, you know, J.J. Miller and that herd of steers was amazing. A lot of hats off to Rory and going all the way to Texas to bring it. He'd go anywhere he wanted to cheapen the truck enough on that, but he goes all the way to Texas to find the best ones he can find. That's pretty impressive.
Well, and that finish right there at the Governor's Cup put you in the top 5, 3rd in the world standings. You're within grasp of a gold buckle, which we talk about that. If you're in the top 15, you are, but that's just even that much closer.
Yeah. It's the ultimate goal. It's what you dream of. If you grew up in a rodeo family and that's what you watched was chasing a gold buckle. So putting ourselves in a better spot this year, riding the horse we're riding and the team of people we have around us, that's what we're hoping for.
All right, give him some love. Let's talk about that horsepower, horse of the year.
Yeah, Banker. Came into our life the right time. I owe a little bit of credit to Luke. He kept knocking on the door to me there, trying to get me to buy him. At the time, I didn't think I needed a horse. Had a lot of great horsepower already under me, and they finally talked me into trying him, and it was kind of over from there. We wrote the check pretty fast, and what an incredible animal. He comes from a mare that already has incredible bloodlines and horses out there doing great things. That video right there actually was his brother Taylor that I own as well. So incredible horse. He's taken a lot of guys to success already, and we're just blessed to have him.
I do want to say this, 3 out of the top 5 are riding Banker and was riding Banker all year long, was in the same rig with Justin. So that says a lot about the horse, but that also says a lot about the crew you travel with.
And who we might get a loan from when the NFR is over as well. Justin, thank you so much. We appreciate you. You stick around. We're going to put you to work a little bit later on some other events. And for all the rest of you, stick around. Team roping conversation concerning the official top 15 when we come back. Tune in next Wednesday at 8 p.m. for Buckled Down, a look into the world of bareback riding and the Cowboys risking everything to be named the world champion.
So far on the final 15 presented by OptiWize 10-1, we've talked about the all-around race. Stetson Wright is leading that race ahead of the national finals. In the bareback riding, Rocker Steiner broke the regular season earnings record en route to trying to get that world title that eluded him last year. And speaking of world titles in the steer wrestling, Will Loomis is close to securing his first world championship. Or is he? The competition is tough. Those numbers are tight, and we're bringing them all to you today on the final 15. And hey, we are just getting started.
It's all good. Let them hear you as they ride by. Everybody, how about a 4.5 time? And we're kicking them now. Shots on. What about the healer? It all looks good. Number one team in the world. They are solid. That is blazing fast. Good head catch. Good heel catch. How easy did they make that look?
Well, welcome back to our Cowboy Channel studios, getting ready to feature and reveal the top 15 in the heading and the healing coming up in just a moment. It's been a hard-fought battle, no doubt about it, and now it is on live TV. It's official. So congratulations to the top 15. Caleb Driggers and Junior Nogueira, there at the last hour at the Governor's Cup, popped right back where they spent a lot of time over the course of the last 5 years.
So many exciting stories throughout our season, but the Governor's Cup, we saw a lot of them in the team roping. I think even more so than the bubble race, the race at the top at the Governor's Cup was so interesting to watch. As you alluded to, Junior Nogueira, number one on the healing side of things. They've got a little bit of a lead. They've gone in with a larger lead before, but you never want to let a team like that get ahead at the national finals. And so we're showing you the numbers here. We're showing you how those dollars stacked up. And guys, I know you've got a lot of thoughts when we look at our field of team ropers at the NFR.
Yeah, $43,911. That's what Caleb Driggers and Junior Nogueira won, Mike, in Sioux Falls, putting them, as Justin said, in a spot they're pretty familiar with over the last 5 years, number one in the world standings.
Yeah, they've got a couple back-to-back world titles. They're probably sick of hearing about T. Wade and Wesley Thorpe with their back-to-backs. But you look at what they did in September as a whole. You talked about the Governor's Cup, but in September, just 9 runs, but in those 9 runs, they had 3 go-around wins and earned over $56,000. They weren't in that first place spot, Steve, until the Governor's Cup. That's when they made the big jump. That's when they got to that number one spot. We've seen these guys. They are killers inside the Thomas and Mack.
Well, and they are. Caleb's 12th NFR, Junior's 11th. But look how close it is. $198,498 for Caleb on the heading side. $83,000 ahead of number 15, Lightning Aguilera.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit in the steer wrestling. Same thing in the team roping. You're within that average. You're within a couple of go-rounds. If you're Lightning down at the bottom, you win 2 or 3 go-rounds in the first 5. I know that's a big task, but all of a sudden, you've gone from 15 to the top 5. So it's the same thing on the heel side as well. Everything's just as close. This is a really tight battle throughout. There you see Jonathan Torres down there, $86,000 with Junior up top at $198,000. Just $86,000 back, Steve.
Yeah, and I can't help but notice Wesley Thorpe there. He's a world champion the last 2 years, $55,000 behind. So it's kind of whoever gets on a hot streak, whoever gets on a roll is who we're going to watch. Let's talk about a couple of teams that are partnering up. This happens every year. Somebody's partner doesn't make it. Lightning Aguilera, the number 15 header, roping with the number 14 healer, Caden Profili. Caden's second trip to the National Finals Rodeo. Lightning won $114,735. He beat Aaron Sinigini for that 5th and final spot by $850. Jonathan Torres, Colton Schmidt and Jonathan Torres. Colton hasn't been to the NFR since 2020, so he's back for an opportunity. And Jonathan Torres, who every year he qualifies, he has not roped with his regular partner during the course of the year. Kind of an interesting little thing about Jonathan Torres as he heads into the National Finals Rodeo in the number 15 spot in the healing. Now, let's talk about a couple of teams that are, I feel like the old song Reunited should be playing right now, that are reuniting at the National Finals Rodeo. Dustin Agasqueza back with Levi Lord. They did not have their partners that they roped with for most of the season make it, but they won most of their money. roping together at the beginning part of the year.
Yeah, they're a really dangerous duo there, and you can see number 4 and number 5, they're in a spot right there to really take advantage of that, and then you can see Clay Smith and Colby Payne together. These are, again, yes, you can say reuniting, but guess what? They've picked up right where they left off, really.
Well, really, they did. Clay Smith and Colby Payne last year, remember, they were one steer, the 10th go-round away from winning the aggregate at the National Finals a year ago.
Yeah, and that's such an interesting point because T. Wade and Wesley Thorpe, they win the first 2 rounds, they drop a couple, then all of a sudden they're just going after all the round money. So oftentimes you really don't know who's going to win the average. And in the team roping, for whatever reason, it's not the world title winners who always win the average.
Yeah, it really is. And it's tough to rope 10 steers.
Yep.
Successfully at the National Finals Rodeo. So those are some of the highlights of the team roping. Katie, let's talk a little bit about guys who've made a lot of highlights the last couple of years.
Well, and guys, we can break down these teams all we want. We can slice and dice these numbers that we're looking at here, but we all know, and those ropers all know, that there is one team in particular that they are going to have to get by. Here's Haley Novak with Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorpe.
I'm in Terrell, Texas today at the home of Tyler Wade. He's joined by his partner, Wesley Thorpe, as they prepare for yet another National Finals Rodeo. The 2-time reigning world champions are sitting down with me today. When did y'all first meet each other? What was that like?
What was your first date, huh?
I mean, we were probably, I would have been 8 or 9 years old probably. Because he's a few, I mean, don't forget he's a few years older.
He acts like I'm 20 years older than him. When he turned 18 and started going to all the ropings and jackpot stuff, I've seen him all the time. And we've been first, second, or third partners for maybe like 10 years now. So we've always just kind of had some success and just kept going from there, I guess.
When you think about this year, how did the 2025 season go for you guys?
I would say one of the rougher seasons in some aspects. We've had some really big hits. We were always in the top 15 in the standings, but I feel like we had some really great weeks and then some super bad weeks, and there wasn't the real level playing field, so it kind of messed with your mind just a little bit, I guess you could say.
You mentioned that there were highs and lows. How did you keep that mental game during those peaks and valleys?
Honestly, just walking by faith and not by sight, and just knowing that it's going to turn around and just staying prepared and waiting on the opportunities.
I also try to look at the perspective of the first year I started 10 years ago. I would have twisted your arm off to be in this position now. So it's like when we're sitting here saying we didn't do our best, we had some, slumps in between, whatever you want to call it, and we still ended up 7th. For me, I've had to look at it that way because I was down, still down about the way it ended, but it also hasn't ended. The NFR's left. We got time to regroup and got some good events coming up leading up to that.
Now it is an advantage to us in the fact that Vegas is paying even more. So being farther back is meaning a little bit less each time when Vegas keeps adding more money every year.
You're coming in this year as back-to-back world champions. What is that like?
I think the sport is so dang humbling, and I think to me, I've always had the best luck. If I'll stay in my own bubble and conquer what I know I'm capable of doing, the rest will take care of itself.
Tyler, after you won the first buckle, you became a world champion. Then to come back for the second year in a row, what did that solidify for you?
To me, it was just cool to see that all the work we've done was paying off, and we were obviously doing something right. We've been through quite a few storms and a lot of ups and downs as a team in the last 3 years that we've roped anyways, so I think that it made us a better team, and we're just going to keep riding the storm.
In your opinion, what makes a good team?
I think that a lot of the things we do complement each other pretty well. Like, I'm OCD. If I ever do get a little bit up and down, he's super level, so it makes us even more level, I guess you could say.
Wesley, you were smirking a little bit whenever he was talking about how OCD he was.
Yeah, I don't. He doesn't
care. It doesn't bother him.
It doesn't. That stuff doesn't bother. You know what I mean? I don't sweat the small stuff too much. Man, they're gonna get. It's gonna be just fine.
He hangs the buckets wrong.
What else does he do wrong?
I don't know if we need to get into that. I think we need to focus on what I do right, and then, he handles the rest.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo.
Everybody's ropes are good. Like Wesley said, that the horsepower and everything's come so far that just getting there now is tougher than it's ever been. So when you see the guys there, it's going to be the absolute best top 15 guys there is.
It wouldn't surprise anybody if one of those teams won the world. You know, even coming from that far back, there's always a team or two that's coming from way back that gets on a roll out there, and it just is going their way.
And not to mention, you know, the 15th spot to the first spot's only 2 go-rounds back. So, I mean, they can literally, you know, after round 3, it can be literally upside down.
The Final 15 reveal show continues with saddle bronc riding when we come back.
Let's go. Rider, right. Zeke's ready. Do your deal, buddy. This man right here, Damian Brennan. But here comes the champ. Perfect bronc ride.
It's going to be the highest mark ride we've seen.
What a ride by Logan Hay. Oh, my. Look out. He might be the greatest of all time.
Well, as we welcome you back to the Final 15, Justin McKee, we're talking about a race that quite literally came down to the final moments of the 2025 season. The bubble was a very nerve-wracking one for our saddle bronc riders.
Yeah, I'd like to call it the busiest bubble of all the events, perhaps, that had the most scenarios of who could be in, who could be out, and certainly took a lot of our conversation during that last week of the season. Here's the big reveal, your bottom 5 coming in here, and what a dogfight it was between these 3 guys to make it work, make it happen. Congratulations. And Weston Patterson getting to his first NFR right there. And how about Lefty Holman? He's usually in the top 5 conversation, but we're glad to have him in the top 15.
I think that just goes to show how tough the competition is in the saddle bronc riding right now. When you've got a regular to the NFR like Lefty Holman, a regular for a world title race at number 15 in the world, but we've got guys like this that he had to contend with. Brody Kress in there at number 10 in the world. Statler Wright, he has been in the mix the last several years. Sage Newman, now a regular. Zach Dallas has been having a very great last 2 rodeo seasons. And Brody Wells, how about that huge August that he had to propel himself well inside the top 15 in the world? But I want to talk about Zach Dallas. He was the Rookie of the Year in 2024 and is not showing any signs of a sophomore slump. In fact, he is the only 2024 Rookie of the Year that was able to come back and qualify again for the National Finals Rodeo, and it is thanks to some big wins. But for me, Zach Dallas, he really turned it on partway through his rookie season. When you first saw him come onto the scene, he maybe wasn't a head turner, but the more opportunities that were put in front of him, the more he continued to rise and sharpen his skills to where he is now, a number 7 caliber bronc rider.
Yeah, I think that he's improved as much as any bronc rider in the world, in my opinion. His improvement from last year to this year, that hands down. And Cade Bruno, you can see the same thing about him from 2 years ago as we're taking a look at the top 5. And Cade Bruno back in the top 5, where he has become very accustomed to being, along with the very elite, and that includes this guy, Zeke Thurston, the 4-time world champion, the Calgary Stampede winner. Oh, by the way, see that amount of money he won underneath him? That pushed him over $3 million for his career. And there's only been 12 cowboys in all the events in rodeo history that has won $3 million plus.
I think the craziest thing too, Zeke didn't even crack the top 15 until July. Dawson Hay, another fantastic season. He is trending better than he ever has when you look at all of the variables that we talk about in the saddle bronc riding world. My colleague Michael Snow, he's got a lot to say about Dawson Hay. He's called it to win the world title this year, but he's got to get by guys like Damian Brennan.
No, Dawson's a complete player now. He wasn't that way in the past. Damian Brennan, I would say he has been complete. He's been fancy. He's looked classy. He's got the confidence, and now he's always been able to ride those rank horses. That's why he has been in this conversation for a world championship.
When we talk about classy, we have to talk about rider right. One of the best techniques in the bronc riding game, and has had that technique for years. He's now the 3-time and reigning world champion. Those world championships have spanned almost 10 years now, but he broke his regular season earnings record this year, stacked up a lot of dollars, $293,000. Tim O'Connell, welcome back. You've got a lot to say about this saddle bronc riding race, starting with these guys at the top.
Yeah, I mean, the guys at the top, it's almost expected, but this group is so elite. This whole field of bronc riders is so elite. To me, it's the deepest of all events, going down to the top 35 in the world. So for this top 15, it's not a shocker that this was a busy bubble, if you want to call it like that, because they are so phenomenal at what they do. It's so classy what they're doing now, riding these rank horses, they're styling with it. Everything is really coming together. This is going to be probably the most interesting field to watch when you look at a world title race.
Yeah, it is right up there, and Ryder Wright leading this crew. Just when you think he can't get any better, he does as well. He maintains. Take a look at this video. Is there anything that he has changed this year to remain so good at the highest level?
It's the crispiness of how he rides.
I love that word.
I mean, when you watch him set his feet, the way he throws his body back, the way he handles his rein, and he gives you that moment of pause at the top. You're watching just poetry in motion when you're watching a saddle bronc rider to a judge. That's why his scores are so high. That's why his riding percentage is so high. And he just dominates on the backs of these horses. He never gets in a bad position, and he always is classing these horses up to be a half point, 1 point better than what they probably actually are.
What separates him between himself and this guy, Zeke Thurston?
I mean, what can you say about Zeke Thurston? When you watch Zeke Thurston ride, I think we're watching probably the greatest bronc rider of all time in his career right now. I mean, between those two, and you have to throw Ryder Wright in there too, you're watching a battle of who's gonna probably be the very best bronc rider the world has ever seen. But Zeke, he just does what Zeke does. He goes to a few rodeos in the winter. If he gets them, he gets them. If he doesn't, he doesn't. He shows up in the summer. He goes to where he wants, when he wants, and when he shows up, when he wants to, he wins.
You've talked about two titans of the game in the saddle bronc riding. Damian Brennan, he is trying to solidify himself amongst those titans.
And I think he has a right to. Watch how he marks horses out. Look at the flash in his legs. I mean, the thing about Damian Brennan that puts him in this world title race is I think he is actually a little bit flashier than the other two. When you watch the spur length that he takes, how high he sets his feet, the way he throws his upper body back, the way he handles his rein, there is something that's just very pretty about how he rides a saddle bronc, and he's super aggressive when he rides too. That's why he was in a world title race last year as well.
But there's a big separation between Ryder and Zeke and Damian and Dawson. They call them gold buckles, and that's what's missing between these guys' resume. Dawson Hay now is riding the rank horses he used to buck off of in years past.
Yeah, Dawson has really turned a corner in his riding, and I think he's just having more fun with it. I don't think he's living in Zeke's shadow anymore. He's trying to get out of that shadow. He wants his first world title for the Hay family. He wants to do the things that he couldn't. He is riding with aggression. He's riding with style. You can see how much fun he's having. You watch that Sioux Falls, he jumps off everyone. dog walks his horses back to the buck and shoots, smiles, waves, has a time of his life when he's doing it. He's always happy to be there. No matter what horse he has drawn, he's going to go at him with full force.
The battle at the top is going to be so exciting, but the battle on the bubble, you alluded to it, Tim. It was very, very interesting, very nerve-wracking. I, for one, was cheering on a guy by the name of Q Taylor.
Yeah, what can you say about Q Taylor? He showed up. Really, for me, what solidified Q Taylor as a real player in this top 15 was his rides in Austin. And it's the way he rides these horses. He gets on rank horses. He drives his feet home. He handles everything from the upper body. He's got a good flash at coming back. But the way he sets the brakes on these horses and takes the power away from them tells me, like when he got on and won Austin, man, this guy can handle rank horses just as good as anybody. Can he flash up them hoppers throughout the regular season to get those checks? And he did.
And it takes some high rider intensity to be able to do that. We're looking here at the kicks. You can see the counter at the bottom of the screen. Medium kick intensity, high kick intensity. Then we look at the rider intensity. When I see medium intensity motion right there, I think that's just because Q is so smooth and so correct all the way through.
He is so smooth and so correct, but watch how fast he beats this horse to the punch.
He's got some snap.
He's got some snap. His feet are set before his horse ever kicks out the back end.
Yeah, but his toes are turned out better than even the top guys in the top 5 that we were talking about a moment ago. And I think that's what changed him the last 30 days of the season and actually got him to his first national finals rodeo. It was a game changer. He was a different guy in September than he was the rest of the season.
Well, it's a huge piece of the judging criteria. Toes east and west, that's almost a 5-point part of that deal. When you can go east to west and show, and he's got some really colorful boots on too.
He does. I love the orange boots.
You know he is left to right on every time, and that's, getting that extra half point in your scores every time makes that difference.
Get you to the NFR is what it does.
All right, we've talked about east and west. Let's head now to the south end of the top 15. We've talked about the battle on the bubble, but guys, let's break down some of those numbers that we're looking at.
Well, okay, you want to talk east and west? Let's talk about Colorado. Because in Colorado, on the last day of the regular season, Mike Snow, Lefty Holman did what he needed to do at the Duel of the Dunes. 144,000. I just want to say one thing. Tim talked about how elite this field of bronc riders is. It took almost $145,000 to get into the NFR this year. The difference between this year and last year, $20,000. $125,000, Mike, was the cutoff a year ago.
Yeah, Wyatt Kasper's comfortably in a year ago at $142,000 or so. And you're right, it's the Duel at the Dunes. That's what it really came down to. Lefty earned $4,100 in Colorado. You get through the Governor's Cup, you think, all right, my season's good, I'm safe. But Wyatt Kasper goes out, Duel at the Dunes, and unfortunately, you see right there, 2025 World Standings, number 16, and you can kind of see what he did at the Duel at the Dunes. The big part there, the payout, the big fat 0. Unfortunately for Lefty Holman, his payout for Wyatt Kasper, his Lefty Holman's payout was $4,100. That is what got him in to the top 15. That is why Lefty on the last day of the season made it, but 6 guys, Steve, over $200,000. It took a lot.
Yeah, Cade Bruno's number 6 in the world. He won $215,000. Lefty Holman, in the month of September, he made a big ride in Salt Lake City. He was 90. He was 88.5 in Albuquerque. He was 89.5 at the Lewiston Roundup. That all set up what he did at the rodeo, what he did at the Duel of the Dunes to get himself that spot. Okay, real quick, Mike Snow, I'm going to give you a chance. You've been on the Dawson Hay bandwagon all year.
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, and Tim kind of touched on it. It's not necessarily the 85 and the 90-point rides that are different. It's the 82, the 83, the 84-point rides that are different that now he's not getting bucked off of. Katie, we talked about it a lot on Zero, and I'd love to go back and find it. I can't remember when I first said it, but listen, I like when people prove me correct. So far, Dawson has certainly done that.
I think that was actually May when you called it, so it was very early in our rodeo season, but I couldn't agree more. When we look at all of the stats, all of the numbers, Dawson Hay is trending better than he ever has in his entire rodeo career. And speaking of contestants doing things they've never done in their rodeo career, we're going to talk about a bubble buster who qualified for her first national finals of breakaway roping. That's coming up on the Final 15, presented by OptiWize 10-1.
she made it. She's 1.9.
Great get out if she got it, yes.
Oh, look out.
Number 1 in the world. Are we good? Because that was amazing.
And her horse can get her there. Great shot. Great shot. She did it.
Watch those highlights. I want to believe that the breakaway roping may have supplied as many high-energy situations and runs than any event in rodeo. I think that video is certainly proof, but right now it's time for the official reveal of the top 15 qualifiers for the national finals of breakaway roping, and here they come, Katie Lou.
Talk about high energy, high money as well. All but one of our breakaway ropers are $100,000 plus to qualify for the national finals. And Macy Young there at number 15 in the world, less than $17 away from all 15 of them being $100,000 or more. It truly was a battle in the breakaway roping with some great names in the mix.
Yeah, Bailey Bates slipping in there, making the biggest jump maybe than any event to land from 19 up all the way up to number 12. Here's the middle five. Congratulations to Aspen Miller. She was fun to watch from the get-go, from the early part of the Texas swing. Big wins all across the board, held on to that top six. Cheyenne McCartney bringing a third qualification to the National Finals Rodeo. And then you've got the veteran and Joey Williams. Oh, yeah, and as I think about her horse, Baby, great horses right here through and through, especially in this middle bunch.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I wanted to make. Both Cheyenne McCartney and Bo Peterson, they've been hitting the futurity trail as well. Great horse trainers. But as we move on now officially to our top five in the world standing, the boy, what a top five it is. Haley Williams now 3 times in a row to the national finals of breakaway roping, finished second in Calgary, won Spanish Fork, Killdeer, Lewiston to be number 5 in the world.
And Riley, how about this? Riley George, she is going to come to her first National Finals Rodeo with a strong finish of the regular season as she is number 4 right there. The highest catch percentage of any of the breakaway ropers, 75.43% of the time she's catching. That's why she qualified into her first national finals and especially into the top 4.
Look at the big jump though between number 4 Riley George, Shelby Beaujolais Medjid at number 3, $178,000. And how about that unforgettable win right there at the Calgary Stampede? This is practically a hometown rodeo. They feature breakaway in all 10 performances for the first time. Shelby got the win and racked up $178,000 on the way.
And just a little bit ahead of Shelby, the world champion, comes a lady that really wants her first world championship from Louisiana, Josie Connor, riding the Horse of the Year Dutch, and that title for the second time in a row. Josie Connor has got a work ethic that's off the charts. That's why she's in this race for the world championship again.
Hey, but when we say pressure makes diamonds, no one was shining brighter than Taylor Munsell in the breakaway this year. $191,000. That is a new regular season earnings record. Taylor Munsell had such a fantastic year. Battled it out with Shelby and Josie all season long, but she reigned supreme. And because of all of the money that not only Taylor Munsell, but several other contestants racked up throughout the regular season, we saw some records fall and some more on the horizon. Ryder Wright for the last couple years has been the man.
That breaks the record that Damian Brennan set.
Taylor Munsell, not only is she number 1, she's also set a regular season earnings record at over $190,000.
Riley Webb broken the regular season pre-NFR record. He set an earnings record in each of the last 3 years.
She doesn't make mistakes.
What a season he's had. Absolutely put a ton of distance between himself and the pack as he gets set for Las Vegas.
Cole Patterson, $125,000. He beat his own record from back in 2023, and it just keeps going up.
So take a look at the records, take a look at the money as we talk about the top 15 in every event. In no other event in professional rodeo has the percentage of increase paid out this year been higher than in the breakaway roping. You take a look at it right here, Michael Snow. All of the breakaway ropers, I'm going to put Macy Young at $100,000. She only missed it by $17. I mean, that's a nice dinner. But you see the difference. $1.6 million last year, almost $2 million this year. Breakaway ropers won a lot of money this year.
Yeah, a ton of money here, all the way through every single spot except for the number 6 and 5 spot, have jumped up in earnings compared to last year. But this graph, there's one thing that really sticks out to me, Steve. That's the big three there, numbers 3, number 2, number 1. They have been incredible throughout the entire season, and for all intents and purposes, that's where the world title race is going to come down to. There's about a $12,000 difference between Taylor at the top and the other two in Shelby and Josie Connor. It's going to be a lot of fun in Vegas.
Yeah, and you got to take a look at all three of them. They've got resumes that everybody else is envious of. Shelby Beaujolais-Midget in the number 3 spot. History this year, she wins Calgary for the first time, as Katie mentioned. She's won $178,537. Talk about records. In the regular season 2023, Shelby won almost $165,000. 3 breakaway ropers broke that this year. Shelby, Josie in the number 2 spot at $179,000. Taylor at $191,000, headed to her 5th straight NFR, and all 3 of them are probably going to break the record overall that Shelby set in 2023 at $197,000.
Well, I tell you what, you tell Shelby, hey, you're going to break your own record. Well, you're also in 3rd place. That's how good it's been. But here are the other records that we've seen. Rocker Steiner, we've talked about him already, $300,000. Riley Webb there joins him as well in the $300,000 club that we'll talk about. Taylor Munsell, Ryder Wright as well, Ryder, $293,000. Beat that by $13,000. as well. So again, money, not just in the breakaway, but everywhere. It's been impressive. The problem is, Breakaway had 3, like you had mentioned, break that regular season earnings record.
Yeah, the breakaway ropers this year making a lot of history, and a history-making year. The rodeo in Calgary adds it. They set money records. What an impressive year for the Cowgirls in the breakaway roping. And now we get to see what happens at the South Point as they get ready to kick off the National Finals Rodeo. Katie, Justin, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I think we're going to continue another year or two seeing those numbers get a little bigger. We're going to continue, especially in the breakaway rope. We're going to break a lot of records in the coming years because there's still some more growth. And to help us tell that story is a 2-time national finalist, Jordan Jo Hollabaugh. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoyed working with you this year and your insight as a competitor. And man, oh man, we've got all kinds of stories. As you look at the top 15, what's the story of 2025?
The story of 2025 is, man, did you guys watch the Breakaway Open? It was so good. Just like we talked, the money, the committees that put up, it's just continually stepped up every year. These girls are heavy and they're hot in the mix. They're competitors. The horses are amazing. We're seeing a whole new turnaround in the Breakaway this year. 4 out of the 5 gold buckles are not going to be at the National Finals Rodeo this year. So that just shows you how much Breakaway has evolved and changed and got faster and faster and tougher and tougher.
And it doesn't matter how good you are. You might be a world champion. If you don't have that perfect horse that fits you to a T, you're not going to beat the other 14 or maybe even the top 25.
Oh, 100%. These horses, you can tell it on these girls' faces as we've watched them all year long on the Cowboy Channel. They have confidence when they're back in the box because they trust their horses and they know they're there to get the job done. And that's what makes a big difference.
Josie Connor Dutch, now the 2-time Breakaway Horse of the Year. What makes that horse so special?
Dutch is just somebody that he's a winner and he shows up each and every time. Josie can really score that horse well. We see him sometimes, he gets a little tight and it's a little bit hard for her to ride sometimes, but when they work out and when they do, man, it's lights out. And you've seen that all year long. Josie's been consistent. Dutch has been consistent. She has maxed out so many opportunities and 74% catch ratio. That is so impressive. And that's why Josie Connor is what she is. She's maxed out all year long. And I think we have really exciting things to see from her at the finals.
Yeah, most money per run in that category as well. So she got a lot of things going right. A lot of people think that she might be the world champion. But the other sub-story to the big story this year is some first-timers. And some first-timers bring in some huge credentials, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, you see all of these girls, which they're no stranger to the breakaway roping, right? We've seen them grow up. We've seen them in here. What is most impressive to me, you have a 20-year-old and you have a 42-year-old. So anybody and everybody can be a breakaway roper, but it's extremely tough. We've seen Aspen Miller come up. Last year, she rodeoed with Tiara Gray. She put herself in the top 30, gave herself that opportunity to get into those buildings. The Texas Swing treated her awesome, and she can carried it through all year long, capitalized, continued to win, got herself the first ticket to the National Finals Rodeo. Suzanne Williams is somebody that I love. She's a 42-year-old mom, wife, rodeo coach. She set her sights on making the NFR this year. I will never forget riding around with her at Fort Worth, and she's like, I'm going to go for it. I'm like, that's awesome. So, you know what, Suzanne, she has an amazing horse. They've raised and trained this horse. She's from California. I think she's a sleeper. People didn't really see her coming, but she kept capitalizing all year long. She has a couple different horses, and we've seen her do well. So I'm excited to see her. You can't ever count out, of course, Kinley Bernice. She had a great year too. It was awesome. But Aspen right here, she rode this horse last year. She kind of seasoned this little horse, and she's just capitalized all year long. And we've seen her back in the box, confidence runs. She's maxed out some of the fastest times we've seen in the Breakaway Open so far.
One that we left out of the conversation that pulled off an absolute Hail Mary in the last week of our pro rodeo season.
Hello everyone on the Cowboy Channel, my name is Sierra Spratt. I am joined alongside first-time NFBR qualifying breakaway roper Bailey Bates.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, that has to feel good hearing that, right? That's gotta be a pretty good title now.
Yeah, getting used to it still.
Well, you have earned that for sure coming into your very first NFBR. It was a long, bumpy road to get here. It was a tough season. Walk us through a little bit about all of the trial and error that you had to go through and how you came out triumphant in the end.
Yeah, this season, starting it off, I felt pretty confident because last year ending up 18 in the world, and this year I felt like my horse was more seasoned and I just felt more confident on him, Rocket, and that's who I rodeoed off of last year, the whole season. Then in July, he got hurt and I was still in the running, and that's how I ended up on a great mount, Reno, and here we are.
And you had mentioned too that how many mounts did you get on? How many horses did you jump ride throughout the season?
Yeah, throughout the season, I rode a total of 8 horses. So I jump rode 5.
But you finally clicked, you got on Reno. So tell us a little bit about his journey because he has kind of a cool story and you're gonna be riding him in Vegas.
Yes, Reno's such a cool horse. I mean, he probably has a bigger story than I do because he flew across from Australia to get here. And here he is going to his first NFBR.
So what is it about Reno do you think really clicks with you and your roping style? I mean, was it just, I know you came out with a bang in Kennewick with the 1.8 arena setting record run. I mean, from that moment on, was that just kind of the boost you needed that was, yes, this is the right call, this is the horse I need to be on?
Yeah, at that moment, I mean, I was hitting small checks here and there, but nothing super big since Cheyenne, so it was probably like a month I was barely hitting something. And for that win to come in Kennewick, it just gave me the affirmation, like, you got this, you're still in the running, just keep doing whatever you're doing. And Reno, what I love about him is he leaves the corner so strong. Like, my horse leaves corner so strong, but Reno is also like, he's a bigger horse, he has more horsepower, it's just, it's a different feeling. And for me, I had to navigate how to stay with him because he leaves so powerful.
So just getting fans to know you more at home, because obviously you're about to blow up, because I'm sure it's going to be an amazing thing that you're going to do here in a couple days for the South Point. But what exactly do you want to tell somebody that's maybe thinking about going professionally? I mean, what was that moment that you thought, I want to do this and dedicate my life to it? What do you have to do that?
I think just have that faith and have determination. I mean, there are a lot of ups and downs in the sport of rodeo. There's probably a whole lot more downs than there are ups. So, I mean, a lot of people only see the ups. So you have to have a lot of grit and determination to make it.
Stick around when we come back. It started out as the story of the year. 2 men chasing another gold buckle, tie-down roping when we come back.
So far on the final 15, we've talked about the end of the season charge that we saw from Caleb Driggers and Junior Noguera to go to #1 in the world standings. Ryder Wright, he's also primed for a Saddle Bronc three-peat, and Taylor Munsell now holds the new regular season earnings record.
That's the Riley Webb we know. How about a salute to the all-around champ of the world? I need a little extra help from my friend Mr. Dowd. Marty Yates, veteran national finals roper.
Well, guess what? Ty Harris answered the call. He can really move. And on the ground, he's got magician leg hands.
What a year of big names, amazing horses, and fast times in the tie-down roping in 2025, as we now are going to officially reveal the top 15 headed to this year's Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, as we take a look at number 15 through 11 and talk about star power. We've got a couple of world champions headlining the bottom part of the top 15 right there, and they had to work the hard way to get in to this year's NFR.
Work the hard way and get on planes, trains, and automobiles to get it done. Look at Shane Hanchey right here. In the final hours of our timed event rodeo season, he goes out to San Bernardino, flies on a jet from the Governor's Cup. After he didn't make the final 4 round, he knew he needed one more chance to get in. He needed to be in the 9-second range in order to pick up a check. Makes his run right there, no good for him, and then has to pass by Quade Hyatt, almost rubbed shoulders on the way by with Quade Hyatt, who was trying to bump him out of that number 15 spot. Quade goes out and makes a great run with all of the pressure on him. Look at Quade go to work here. Ice water in his veins. Shane Hanchey is sitting there uncinching his horse thinking, man, I'm done. For the first time in 15 years, I'm not going to be at the national finals. Look what happens right there, Justin McKee. Talk about riding that roller coaster of emotion. Shane is in, and then he's out, and then with one calf kicking up, he's back in again.
Oh my goodness, that was quite a story. Tough break right there. Shane Hanchey's in, though. We're moving on. Here's the middle part of your 5, and again, it's good to see Marty Yates back on top of his game. But I'm going to point out this guy right here. Best catch percentage of any of the top 15. Joel Harris getting things done in the last 2 months of the season in a big way.
He has been so exciting to watch as of late, really just climbing those ranks there, improving on his resume, adding to that resume. But talk about resumes, we talk about these guys right here. Dylan Hancock, very early in his rodeo career right now, but he's starting to shape up as a world title contender, maybe if not for the 2 guys at the top of the world standings right now. Riley Webb, Shad Mayfield, even they are quite a few dollars apart, but look at the gap from 2 to 3.
Yeah, it's been a 2-man race from the get-go, and what a race it's been. It's been one of our top stories from beginning to end of regular season. Probably will continue to be through the NFR.
Yeah, there's a great look at our top 15 right there. And to help break those down, Justin is back with Luke Branquino.
Luke, let's talk about a real showdown between 2 guys, beginning with Riley Webb, and then we're going to talk about Shad Mayfield, but the 2-time world champion. It's been amazing for him, and a record-breaking season. Again, he did very few things wrong this year.
Yeah, and let's be real, Riley Webb's success hasn't just been the last couple years. It started at such a young age, starting at the WCRAs, where he was competing against the very best in the world for huge amounts of money. So that pressure of him going out there and running at that much, that started way back when. Now, he's just capitalized on every moment that he has set himself up for from those previous years.
Yeah, and it's been amazing to look at the numbers right there. His catch rate is over 81%. Those sub-8 runs, look at that, Luke, 23 of them.
I don't know if I could do that in the steer wrestling anymore, but unbelievable, this kid. You know, from the time he nods his head to the time he throws his hands up, he is so hard to beat.
Yeah, the amount of money that he's put together has been amazing. And of course, he's got a trailer full of great horses. That makes a difference in the tie-down roping, looking for that 3rd world championship. And he is still so young. It's just amazing, still in his early 20s. Riley Webb, the rumor is that maybe nobody outworks that guy. So in the practice pen, that's how you become a champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another guy that, puts in a lot of work, and that's Shad Mayfield. We've seen Shad have so much success in the regular season. These guys 1 and 2 battling it out, going into Sioux Falls. They were 1 and 2 going into the semifinals. And that's just the battle of really the ages. That's the Cody and Fred type era battle that we're seeing between Riley and Shad.
Yeah, they're still young. Riley's 22. Shad is 24 years of age. Both bring 2 gold buckles in here. The big question is Shad going to have that monster national finals rodeo? He certainly do.
Well, the monster national finals he has been looking for. He has not had a monster national finals, and Riley has had a lot of that success in the Thomas and Mack. So Shad's going to have to step up and try to get that monster NFR that he needs to go ahead and try to catch Riley Webb.
All right, Luke, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. Just nailed the tie-down roping calls right there.
I was the only one available to do it, so there you go.
Let's catch up with Steve Kenyon and Mike Snow again.
So this year has been loaded up more than any other with $300,000 plus money winners. Take a look at the 300 Club. Stetson Wright, $515,000 total between the Bulls and the Saddle Broncs. Wasey Shala, $488,000. Michael Snow, those two all by themselves have won more than $1 million this year.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. Kai Hamilton in there as well. You'll see a theme there, bull riders. Continuing with the rough stock theme, Rocker Steiner, $303,000. The only timed event athlete in this list is Riley Webb. He's the #1 tie-down roper in the world. Rocker and Riley, both the first non-bull riders to ever have a $300,000 regular season. So Riley's at the top. He's got some guys chasing him, and somebody we haven't talked to maybe enough about, Kincaid Henry.
Yeah, Kincaid Henry, 7-4 on the final run in Sioux Falls at the Governor's Cup, moves him into the #3 spot. He won $34,000 in Sioux Falls. Kincaid headed to his 4th national finals rodeo, been a college champion twice for 2 different schools. Here's the real deal maker for Kincaid Henry. A lot of folks think, and I agree, he's been a PRCA member for 5 years now, 6 years. The first 2 years he didn't make the NFR. The difference, he bought that 19-year-old gelding he calls Mario. Mario's been resting for a while. Now he gets to come back out and play again, starting on December the 4th at the NFR.
Yeah, that's going to be very dangerous to watch. Speaking of dangerous, this bubble right here, it was dangerous to the very end of the season. We talked about Shane, we talked about Quaid, Kyle Lucas, and Haven Medjid also in there. Haven Medjid, former world champion, has the average record. That was maybe another big surprising name, and then Ty Harris at number 12. There's some big names who are on that bubble.
Well, and remember the story with Haven Medjid. He gets hurt, he misses 2 months of the rodeo season, and then he climbs back into the top 15, coming into this national finals rodeo on the number 13 spot. So that's a look at the tie-down roping. As you all know probably, our colleague Katie Lucas comes from a great family of tie-down ropers. There's a lot of roping in Katie's family. We've got Katie standing by with a chance to talk to one of the top 15 ropers, Ty Harris. Or is it?
Sweet. So again, Katie, just talking through beginning up, right? So, lead in.
Guys, continuing that conversation, we're getting a chance now to visit with now the 6-time NFR tie-down roping qualifier, Ty Harris. Ty, even though you were whatever number for the last week of the season, you didn't feel safe this year. Yeah, at the end, you know,
I'll fix it. You can line this along
now
your boat
6-time NFR qualifier, Ty Harris. Something like that. We've started the pterodactyl stage of Hadley's journey. Hi.
Hey, did we get you?
What's happening? Why are you here? Hi. Wrong. Are we chatting?
Yeah, we are, I guess.
Oh. I was so prepared for Ty Harris.
That's what they wanted to do. They know you were going to be prepared, so they're like, we're going to throw her a curveball.
You're going to make me cry here already.
That's what they were hoping for.
I see that. They won, apparently. Well, hi.
What now, Katie?
I don't know. I'm not ready for you.
Now we're both unprepared.
So I guess we're supposed to talk as I get things together here. I was not prepared for this interview here, but Kyle Lucas, thanks for coming over. I'll try to get it together.
We've been working on it about a week now, I guess, to try to trick you.
This is a cool year. I've been pretty proud to sit and watch you. What was different this year?
I don't know, probably horsepower, I think. I don't know if I rope much different than I normally do. I think I locked in a little bit more where I needed to, and a lot of things, tied in and worked how they were supposed to. I guess Pendleton come to mind. It was crazy at Pendleton. I don't know if I was just inside or just outside of the bubble, but Tim Bagnell let me take his old white horse. He's rock solid. He's about the best one on the grass, old Waterbug. It's a white horse. to say he's pretty. I wouldn't want to lie to the camera. But we ended up winning the first go-around, and we needed it too because everyone else on the bubble did good. So that 6,000, I think, was what kind of, it was a make or break moment. So it was pretty cool.
And I think too, I mean, if we're honest and we look back at seasons in the past, you've been so close. And I've seen you do this at the Canadian finals, or to qualify for the Canadian finals, where you've had those seasons where you've come up just short, and then you've been able to come back the next year, a couple years later, and be in that same situation and make your way through. Is that make it more satisfying? It was so fun for us to watch. It was so nerve-wracking because we thought, oh no, you know, what if it happens again? That's going to be so disappointing for you. But to be in that situation where you had to win at Pendleton, one of the hardest rodeos of the year, and then you placed at what, 4 out of 5 of your last rodeos to qualify? 5 out of 6.
Something like that, and one crying hole at the other one. So
yeah, I mean, that had to have felt good to get it done, be in that same situation, but be in a totally different mindset.
Yeah, that reminds me, fiance Courtney and I, we were watching San Bernardino, and I had a chance to get bumped out potentially. The guys that were roping that night could have bumped me out. So we're sitting there, and like you said, I've been all around the world and chasing all these checks, and I did all I could do, it seemed like, and was sitting there, and it was out of my hands, and then I ended up making it. We knew I was in, and Courtney thought something was wrong with me because I wasn't jumping up and down. You know, I just achieved a 13-year-long goal. Well, it's been one of my goals and dreams my whole life. Yeah, exactly. It's just my 13th year in the professional association. So she asked me, she's like, what's wrong with you? How come you're not jumping for joy? I'm like, dang, I've had to control my emotions here the last month and stay locked in. So it's hard just to switch that off. So I guess it's kind of hitting me a little bit more now, which is good. And then that turns into preparation. Now we're getting prepared.
About the preparation that you got last year. You got to rope the spares at the NFR. We all know the NFR is one of the fastest setups. It's very easy to be late at the national finals, but you got to rope all the spares after the perfs last year. Do you think that's going to help prepare you for round 1, or is there anything that you feel like can prepare you?
Yeah, I think after that first night, even, like, if I could have been done there, that would have been enough to know that you know, it was different than I thought it would be. You know, watching all these guys light it up in there. The feeling and the timing was a little bit different, and I think you can see that on rookies going in there. So I'm very fortunate enough to get that feeling, and calf roping, and I guess you could compare it to heeling too. It's a lot of feeling, it's a lot of timing, and that timing was way different than I thought. And but then again, I get to ride Logan Bird's great horse Peso, so I think that timing is going to be even better than the horse that I rode there roping the spares. So I'm really excited to get to rope there. I think I roped at least 5 calves a night, so I had about 5 years of practice under my belt there, so I feel like I'm ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're gonna be a rookie at the national finals, but your horsepower is not. How much confidence do you have in Peso?
A lot of confidence. You know, you said rookie too, but I think I'm the second oldest calf roper there. I went through there. It depends when Marty Yates' birthday is, but I think I'm the second or third oldest calf roping there, and that's crazy to think. I feel like I'm still 19 years old and just getting rolling, but no, it's super cool, and I'm excited to ride Peso there. He's a proven winner in there right from the start. I believe his first ever run was Shane Hanchy there, what was it, 2-3 years ago. He won the first go-around, so that's a testament to Peso.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch you. Peso is going to be great. You're going to be great there at the national finals. Thanks for joining me, for surprising me on our show. Our producers, they're going to hear from me after this for the surprise and making me cry on camera. But congratulations on this lifelong dream coming true.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. She never saw that coming. Congratulations to the entire Lucas family. That was fun. Stick around. When we come back, it's all about the barrels and the girls and those fast horses.
the world champion barrel racer.
Texas lady Cassie Mowry, come on.
You gotta leave him standing, and she does. Excellent work, Brittany.
This is Haley Kinsel from Texas. Watch the clock. He's about to smoke them all right now.
Trish Aldridge, she's had a great week. She's headed to her first NFR.
Well, you just saw right there just a little taste of the amazing horsepower and horsewomen that are headed to the 2025 National Finals Rodeo. It's time now to unveil our top 15 headed to Las Vegas and talk a little bit about that horsepower. But man, the competition was extremely intense at the top 15 in the world. Caitlin Scott, she got a chance to qualify. She's one half of a sister-in-law duo that we have headed to the National Finals Rodeo. Andrea Busby, hard to imagine down at number 14 in the world, but that just goes to show how tough the competition is for the average record holder at the National Finals Rodeo. Moving on, though, there's so many stories that we want to talk about. We've got to pack them all in to the show here. Taylor Moykins, she was amazing to watch this year. Pendleton champion right there. Halen Lyde, the other half of the sister-in-law duo. Anita Ellis, she was your Calgary champ and a first-timer to the National Finals Rodeo. And we haven't even gotten to the top 5 yet. When we look at these ladies, we truly look at barrel racing royalty. Number 5, a first-timer to the National Finals Rodeo, Megan McLeod-Sprague. She's riding Sace Corona or Jagger at the National Finals as she did all year long. It was such an amazing race and a well-deserved NFR qualification for her. Haley Kinsel, the 4-time world champion, riding the now 2-time barrel racing horse of the year. Of course, that's DM Sissy Heyday, sister, a horse that truly needs no introduction whatsoever. Emily Beisel, she's a lady that you do have to introduce her horses because she's riding so many great ones. She told me she picked up checks on 6 of the horses in her trailer this year. I think that is a huge feat, and she said it truly was a team effort. Here's another world champion, Brittany Posey Tanazi. She is number 2 in the world. She won that world title in 2023, missed out on the national finals in 2024. Bit of a rebuilding year for her. She's got the horsepower back, and she is back where she belongs at now her 18th NFR. And then talk about an amazing story in the barrel racing world. I think the entire industry got behind Cassie Mowry after heartbreak in 2024. She ended the year with a world title. What an amazing story here. And Justin McKee is standing by with another world champion to break things down.
So that is our top 15, and this is our expert to break down the top 15, some of the storylines, some of the numbers, and we're going to get real technical in just a minute. Jordan Briggs, the 2021 world champion, glad to have you here in the Cowboy Channel.
Thank you for having me.
So let's ask you, what was your biggest surprise toward the end of the regular season?
I love that Caitlin Scott got in there because Sioux Falls has just thrown a wrench into everything. And if you don't get into those rodeos, then the odds are against you. And so I just love that she battled it out at the little rodeos and made every dollar count and got in there.
And did it the hard way.
Yes.
You've got to respect taking the roughest road into the top 15. And
sure.
She made a smooth delivery into that spot right there. And she is a first-timer. And actually, there's a lot of first-timers. 6 total in the top 15. That's a big number.
It is a big number. It is like we have the veterans and the rookies. So it's going to be really cool. And honestly, the first year is the best year, in my opinion, because you have no expectations. Honestly, your only expectation is probably just like don't fall off on TV. And you're just so happy to be there and have fun. And by far, I wish I could do my first time over and over again.
Now, there you have it. Everybody's talking about Trisha Aldridge and Adilos Panelones. That stallion is so young and looks like he loves it like Rolo did.
Oh, gosh. For a stallion to do that, it is so impressive. And, I mean, she did it the old-fashioned way this year, too, with not getting into the big winter rodeos. And she ran him a lot, but it paid off, and he stayed so solid all year.
All right, I want to put a disclaimer out there. When cowboys use artificial intelligence for the first time, there's just a warning. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to use some of that right now. Jordan, come on with me. We're going to move over here back to the big screen, and we're going to show some barrel racing, 3 of the fastest runs of the Governor's Cup, as a matter of fact, and we're going to track these runs. Halen Lyde is going to start us off. These are the runs we're going to see right here, and Halen, she really came through when she needed to.
She did. This horse is so deceiving. He stays it was really interesting to see this on this horse because he stays the same speed all the time, kind of hits his corners the same, and just stays just solid through his whole run. You don't really see very many mistakes. I love this because you think you run straight lines. You think you make circles around the barrels, and you really don't.
I'm going to point out one thing. Red is when they're running their fastest, and that red mark begins right here. And I think that acceleration to the finish line, this is a horse race. I think that's what makes the difference more times, or maybe even 90% of the time.
For sure. And this arena is a lot like the NFR, so there's this great comparison going into that and seeing where your horse accelerates.
All right, here's Tricia Aldridge with a 14:38, and she really moves out of that first turn to the right a lot faster.
Yeah, she nailed her first barrel. You can see how she has some corners right there where she almost hit corners and came around too much, leaving this first barrel, and got a pretty big pocket going into the second, a lot bigger than Halen's.
A lot different right here, but and also didn't redline until clear back over this way, which is
yes.
And
kind of, because of this big pocket going to the second, kind of run bys it a little bit, then also get that corner and kind of didn't have the best third barrel, but again, redlined decently to tie Halen.
And here's the fastest run of the Governor's Cup. Here comes Haley, Kinzel, and sister with this amazing 14:20.
I think she went the fastest, the furthest to the first barrel, really nailed that corner and had a great first barrel. She has the straightest line, in my opinion, to the second, and then had, again, redlined further up into the third to really make that corner on the backside to have a great straight line running home to redline further. Or faster than the other girls.
Yeah, she's going to redline a little faster right there and probably got more red right here in her approach to the first barrel.
Yeah, so her straight lines. I think sister has such great lines, straight lines, and that's where she really made up her time. And you can see that. And going into the NFR, obviously, sister's made this run a lot.
Yeah, she was fresh and feeling really good. Right now, let's get back up with Steve Kenyon and Mike Snow talking about that top five.
Well, thank you, Justin and Jordan. Back here at the numbers board alongside Michael Snow, I'm Steve Kenyon. And one of the funny things, or not funny, but one of the interesting things, Michael, about the barrel racing event, just in terms of the numbers, not only is the amount of money that the barrel racers won during the year, but the separation between the numbers of rodeos they went to, the fewest number of rodeos for any barrel racer this year, the number one lady, Cassie Mowry.
Yeah, growing up, I watched a lot of golf, and it was Tiger Woods versus the field everywhere he went. That's kind of where we're at right now with Cassie Mowry. Cassie Mowry versus the field. That continues at the NFR. There you can see $203,000 on the season, went to less than 30 rodeos. At every rodeo she showed up to, per run, she averaged over $3,400. Now follow me here. Haley Kinzel was second place in that. She averaged about 15, but Haley also averaged $3,300 for an entire rodeo throughout the entire season. So Cassie's individual run at each rodeo is worth more than most people or everybody's full rodeo. That's how dominant she has been. That's why she's over $200,000. The standings are close, but in all reality, Cassie Mowry is dominating the field right now. She won 5 go-arounds last year. The NFR, she could do it again.
Well, and this year she rode 3 different horses. She went to 28 rodeos and she rode 3 different horses. And if you take a look at this, Brittany Posey-Tanazi, who rode 5 different horses this year, 72 rodeos. Emily Beisel, Katie just said, placed on 6 different horses. She went to 69 rodeos this year. The second lowest total, Anita Ellis, who went to 44 rodeos this year. I want to point out one thing to watch in the barrel race. Doesn't have anything to do with the rodeo count. Lisa Lockhart, number 6 in the world standings. If you looked at the WPRA's website today, it's updated. She is $125,000 away. That's a very attainable goal with the amount of money at the NFR from becoming the second rodeo athlete to go over $4 million in her career. It's an amazing opportunity for Lisa.
Yeah, it's been really impressive, Lisa's career throughout. But, you got to stay clean over the course of 10 runs. If you do that, I don't care who you are, you've got a chance at a world title with how close all of this is. The problem is, Cassie's really, really good at being clean on all 10 rounds, as we saw last year.
$203,000 for Cassie Mowry. Caitlin Scott is only $72,000 behind in the number 15 spot. Barrel racing, the closest event of all of them. Let's get back to Justin McKee, standing by with Jordan Briggs.
So it's time to dig in a little bit deeper and talk about some of the first timers that are coming into the NFR. And we had one lady that was absolutely spectacular, going to make it the first time, and it's a long time coming for Megan McLeod-Sprague out of Marsing, Idaho, and she joins us right here. Megan, I know you're busy. Thanks for taking the time, but first of all, congratulations on your first NFR.
Thank you. We are busy, but you know what? This is such a special time for us, and it's we really appreciate you having me on.
You bet. I know you're all smiles because Jag has been in your trailer and healthy this year after I have to set out last season. What a 2025 it was. Really, from the very beginning of the season or early in the season with the win at San Antonio through all the summer run and even a strong finish in the fall.
Yeah, it was pretty special. My very first rodeo back on him was Fort Worth, and we won second there and had a real strong winner, won San Antone, carried on through the 4th of July. Jag was the high money winner over the 4th, and then finished out the season with a great performance at Sioux Falls. So, I mean, really from start to finish, he was nothing but great.
That's my favorite thing about Jag. He's one of my favorite horses going into the NFR this year. He's humongous. He's a very big horse, in my opinion. I like little horses, so I think he's humongous. But I just love his style and how round he is. And obviously you did great all year like we just went over, but how much confidence are you getting off of doing so well at Sioux Falls going into the NFR?
You know, that was a real blessing. I kind of got into Sioux Falls by the skin of my teeth, just barely snuck in there at the last of the year. And when I got there, you know, of course, having done well at San Antone, I knew he had the ability to be great there. But I don't run in a ton of small pins being from the Northwest. So to go in there and have that blind first barrel and have him perform the way he did against a lot of the horses that'll be at the finals was a serious confidence boost for me.
Yeah.
It's almost like a dream because he was just near perfection there.
Yes, and for sure, San Antonio was amazing. You had ice running through your veins at San Antonio for several reasons. But yes, I'm excited to watch you at the NFR because of that.
Well, thank you, Jordan. It means a lot coming from somebody like you. And we were excited. You know, when San Antone rolled around, we were just so happy to be doing it again together that, you know, and I had my family out there with me, and it really was kind of a dream come true. And that just kind of trickled on through the rest of the year. So.
Well, let's talk about the top 5. The competition on paper looks amazing. We've got world class and 3 world champions right there in the mix. And Jordan, this is going to be a real showdown when we get to the Thomas and Mack in Vegas.
Yes, it is. It's going to be really tough. And how exciting it is for Megan to be in the top 5, a rookie, against the girls that she's going to be against.
A lot to look forward to as we are quickly approaching the National Finals Rodeo. Megan, thank you so much. We'll let you get on down the road. I know you got places to go, people to see, and bring that good horse and that smile out to Vegas, and we'll see you at the Thomas and Mack.
Sounds great. We'll be there.
All right, you take care, and we are going to talk some bull riding when we come back. It's the official Top 15 coming your way right here on the Cowboy Channel.
Hudson Bolton from Tennessee is ready to do 90 points. And my friends, is how you get it done. Shows you why he is simply the phenom.
Kai Hamilton runs the table.
How loud can you get for Tristan Hutchings?
All right, as we get ready to wrap this first ever show up of the Final 15 on the Cowboy Channel, we need to talk about the bull riding. Once again, a lot of dollars and cents that got racked up and some very, very tough competition. Some great rookies in the mix, but let's look at the mix of bull riders that we have, starting with number 15 in the world, Luke Mackey, an astonishing 138,000, almost 139,000 to make it in.
With the Extreme Bulls to go along with the PRCA season, man, oh man, the bull riders really piled up some money. What do you see the top 5? But even these guys toward the bottom, impressive numbers all the way through. The rookies all over the place, 4. And certainly one of the top stories toward the end of the regular season. We'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Right now, let's go to the middle 5 of the top 15. Take a look at what we've got going on here. J.R. Stratford, after a couple of years of serious injuries, are going to make it in here. Jordan Spears, with that impressive win at the Pendleton Roundup, is going to make it again, and a very impressive top 10 position, along with storylines all over the place.
Yeah, I want to add to that, talking about impressive. J.R. Stratford truly went through some major surgeries, 3 major surgeries to battle his way back. So exciting for him. Hudson Bolton, he's one that I am looking out for. He made a name for himself in the PBR, moving over to the PRCA this summer. Hayes Waite, he's been a true contender as well. But let's look at our top 5 right now, Justin, starting with TJ.
Yeah, TJ Gray, who finished in the top 6 last year with some impressive numbers. Last year, $350,000 in the top 6. He is coming back to the NFR in right where he left off last year. He's in the top 5 again. He won San Angelo early on in the season. And how about T. Hutch?
Yeah, Tristan Hutchings, I think, is a guy that doesn't get talked about enough when we talk about being a world champion contender, in my opinion. In 2022, he was number 3 in the world. 2024, number 5. He is a true dragon slayer, and he works very hard at it.
And how about Kai Hamilton, the world champion, 5 times to the national finals. He finished strong with the win at Puyallup, and then the Governor's Cup, the number 2 highest riding percentage at 57%. And now he's crossed $1.5 million this season for his career.
Number 2, Stetson Wright, just $2,500 behind number 1. He got injured, though, in Puyallup. He broke some ribs, punctured a lung, had some other injuries to go along with it, was unable to return to competition for the remainder of the season, but he'll be ready for NFR.
And it is a real battle between these guys in the all-around race and in the bull riding race. Here comes Wasey Shala after being 18 years old last year, making it to his first NFR, disappointing NFR. He's got a chance to redeem himself as we are switching gears right now to that rookie race, and all 4 of those rookies make it. And here's the guys to break down the numbers.
We all can remember a lot of years when 3 Resistol Rookie of the Year eligible bull riders qualified for the National Finals Rodeo. But Michael Snow, this is the first time there have ever been 4 Resistol Rookie of the Year eligible bull riders all go to the NFR.
Yeah, I also think our producer's trying to get us beat up by a couple of bull riders here once we go to the NFR. They ride bulls for a living. I had about 8 seconds of turbulence on my airplane here, and I complained about that. So listen, yes, we're kind of poking a little bit fun here, but these are as tough as they come, and they are as good as they come as well in this year's rookie race. And for a long time, it looked like Quinn, and then all of a sudden it was Hudson Bolton, and Hudson leads the way in just about every statistical category among these rookie bull riders. The most impressive one to me, Steve, is that riding percentage. He's in the top 4 of riding percentage at over 53%. That was, you just don't see that out of rookies very often.
Well, number 6 in the world standings, and let's just make sure we fully understand the history that Hudson Bolton has a chance to make this year. In May, when the PBR finals ended, he was crowned the PBR's Rookie of the Year. Now, in December, when the Wrangler NFR ends, he's got a great chance of being the first bull rider to win the Rookie of the Year in both associations. He's won almost $180,000, and realistically, almost all of it since the end of the PBR finals. If you think June, July, August, September, he's won $40,000+ a month.
Yeah, I was able to talk to him at the Pendleton Roundup, and we had talked a little bit about what it would mean to win both Rookie of the Years. He says that's extremely important to him to do something that nobody has ever done before. Steve, he's got a chance to do it.
Will there be history made at the NFR? I think there'll be a lot of history made at the NFR. Katie and Justin, we've got a chance to highlight all of it.
Yeah, we're not going to wait to the NFR. We got Tim O'Connell back. He's our rough stock expert, and we're going to make some history here with some amazing analysis. And this guy's a real student of the game, and he's also a former bull rider. And we're so glad to have him here. I know what you're going to talk about, and I can't wait to show the folks and let them listen to what you're going to see here in just a moment as we talk about this battle between Stetson and Wasey. But right now, let's talk about the top 15. And man, we got big guns, young guns. We got a good mix all over the place.
We really do. We got veterans of the game, and we got a lot of young blood coming in there. The turnover in the bull riding happens very often. They get on big bulls, strong bulls. They get beat up. The turnover happens a lot better. But this young crop of kids coming in here can really put a statement in this game.
You talk about being beat up, and when we look at the competition between Wasey Shalla, Stetson Wright, let's talk about the physical demand of your second event being the bareback riding versus the saddle bronc riding.
That's my only thing that makes me nervous for Wasey. We've seen it a little bit at Sioux Falls. That bareback riding out there is going to take a toll on you if it's your only event, if it's your specific event. You're gonna go through a 10-day war and it's gonna hurt at the end of it. When you get thrown off a bareback horse, you don't get just thrown out like the saddle bronc riders do and hit the ejecto-ceto. You get jerked down, you get beat up every day out there.
Now, Tim, let's break it down. This is Stetson Wright in Reno.
Yeah, I wanna talk about Stetson's style here and watch the blue of our AI. Stetson really moves with all of his bulls. He doesn't stop moving from the bottom of his feet to the top of his freehand. He feels these bulls. He doesn't wait for them to make the move. He's in constant motion with these bulls, and he's in total control of his body from the bottom to the top. Doesn't matter what these bulls do, doesn't matter what the whip is, Stetson's able to make these corrections from how loose he rides.
But they're big moves, and that's the difference between this guy and some of the other guys we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and it's big moves, small moves, but he has total command of his moves. And then you got a guy like Kai Hamilton. He is like that history of what you want bull riders to look like. Watch his blue and green in this. There's not a ton of movement. He lets the bull make the first move. His inside foot gets a really good hold. You don't see that inside leg move nearly as much as Stetson, and that's why he rides so correct.
A lot of Sage Kimsey-like right there, staying in the box for Kai Hamilton.
Yeah, really great style right there. And I love that we're bringing this new technology to the world of rodeo because 8 seconds happens so fast, and we were able to just really see a huge difference between those two styles. This guy, Tristan Hutchings, he's got a lot of style as well. And I talked about him. I feel like he is a world title contender that we don't talk a lot about.
Yeah, he gets overshadowed from the guys that have gone out there and just dominated the field, but he's always in the mix. Why? Because he's a home run hitter. When the biggest and baddest come up, Tristan Hutchings shows up to play. First NFR he ever goes to, he gets 4 round wins. He's a 90 or nothing type of guy, and with that ground money playing a difference in this game, you could see him come from that back of the pack to get it done.
And I love how you get into the details and the mechanics, and we appreciate Tim O'Connell being a part of our program here. Looking forward to what he's going to bring to the show at the NFR. Maybe multiple shows. We're going to keep him very busy out there.
Man, and we've been very busy over the last 2 hours. We've broken down 133 qualifiers, both for the National Finals Rodeo and the National Finals of Breakaway Roping. We hope you enjoyed this show. I know I certainly had a lot of fun on the show, Justin, as we broke down the final 15 NFR standings reveal. The audit is done. They've tallied up those dollars and cents, and it's official.
Now, let's get those conversations going out there. We're working towards the NFR. For all of us here at the Cowboy Channel, thank you for being a part of our Top 15 reveal.